You're probably thinking I'm a goner.
Did you change medbed respawning just to sell more nurses? I went and talked to design director for Squadron 42 in the Precision Universe, Rick Porter. He was on the last Star Citizen Live. You met him along with Rick and Rich and JJ. They were the makers of the original medbed spawning system back when they were just on the actor feature team. Back then, which is about 4 years ago, their intention was for all medbeds to allow spawning. Why don't more multi-crew ships have medbays of any tier whatsoever?
I don't think the Carrack is the only non-capital ship with a medbay, because we have the Apollo and the Cutlass Red, but it is a supremely powerful feature to have in your ship. So we don't want every ship and its son having medbed in there that you have as your mobile respawn point. So we do want to restrict the availability of those to ships that make sense. So the Kraken would make sense because it is sort of like a mobile space station. The Carrack is a supremely long distance exploration ship where you're going to be out in the deep expanse of space a long time. But having it in the back of your Cutlass, like your bog standard Cutlass that you just chucked in there, maybe not. But the Red, again, designed as an ambulance.
And just for some to be at this distance and some to be at this distance. That was their original intent. It didn't get in at the time because of this, that, or the other thing. It was 4 years ago.
And then the second is respawning, which you sort of access in a very similar way. You lie down on the bed, you set the medical beds to be your respawn point. And then at that point, if you die and the ship is still in the relative vicinity, you can respawn back to the ship, which is a big feature. I think for me, it's just the extension of group play. Because when you play as a group at the moment, as soon as one of you makes a mistake and dies, they're essentially out of the group for a long period of time whilst they get back, and this fills that gap in and it just allows those groups to play on for longer.
Tier 2 and above facilities or ships will only have the ability to respawn. So that means Tier 3 medical beds won't allow you to respawn. And Tier 3 medical beds are what's in the Cutlass Red right now. So that's going to be a loss of functionality, which is what it currently has. But this was always the intention. That was always a placeholder solution when we added it to the PU, I think, like the start of 2020.
There will be a difference between, and I think we've shown sneak previews of things like the med gun as well. There will be other ways to heal yourself beyond a med bed going forward. So you won't need a med bed in the back of your ship if you break your legs on a planet. You'll be able to use other mechanics to heal yourself.
So looking at it through the context of Star Citizen today is, of course, natural and proper, and you absolutely should. And a lot of that feedback that we're seeing is because of how they're looking through it through the lens of Star Citizen today. But they are making decisions, laying the groundwork for Star Citizen tomorrow and the day after and the day after.
So that means Tier 3 medical beds won't allow you to respawn.
Back then, which is about 4 years ago, their intention was for all med beds to allow spawning.
But this was always the intention. That was always a placeholder solution when we added it to the PU, I think, like the start of 2020.
Back then, which is about 4 years ago, their intention was for all med beds to allow spawning.
But this was always the intention. That was always a placeholder solution when we added it to the PU, I think, like the start of 2020.
You lie down on the bed, you set the medical beds to be your respawn point.
And enjoy getting back into the fight even quicker and more consequence-free for the time being. But that change is coming.
Because the regen has always been the strategy.
Well, my understanding from reading social media is that marketing just tells you what you have to do.
Marketing certainly have a say in what they would like, but at the end of the day, it comes down to Chris, Rich, myself, balancing that with what's best for the game.
Switching these beds out, is that standard with any Apollo?
It's just the Tier 3 ones at the moment. I don't know how we're gonna plan on that. That's one for the marketing department to decide on.
Marketing certainly have a say in what they would like, but at the end of the day, it comes down to Chris, Rich, myself, balancing that with what's best for the game. Mixed opinions.
That's right. I'm realizing there's absolutely nothing I can say here that'll change anybody else's mind, so we'll just move on. What did we learn this week?
So what did we learn about this week?
So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn about this week?
What?
So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn this week? Well, so what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn this week? So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn about this week?
So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn this week?
So what did we learn this week?
So with that, what did we learn this week?
Once we start a ship, we see it through to the end of release, and we don't tend to start ships now in production without fairly firm guarantees that the gameplay is going to come with them at the end. That was different way back in the past. We would just work on a ship. We'd ask for the gameplay. If the gameplay wasn't there, we'd shove it out. Example, Starfarer. That's not how we want to do things these days. And hopefully people have seen that over the last, I don't want to say 3-4 years, where we deliver ships with their gameplay because it improves the experience for everyone.
It would also be fair to say that we've taken a couple diversions every once in a while and
Yep.
stuff like we embarked on an initiative to only develop ships that have relevant gameplay and stuff, and for the most part we've held to that with a couple minor hiccups every once in a while.
Bruh.